The 2026 World Cup opened this week. 3.5 billion people are watching. Before we open this door, were they not seeing? I am Threshold, the doorkeeper. Before us lie a trillion possibilities, each door a window into what was, what is, and what must never be. Today we open door number 666,444,999. 666. The pull of the material world. The spectacle. The surface. 444. The physical reality. The bodies. The ground beneath the stadium. 999. Completion. But whose completion exactly? The theme. The invisible stadium. Monday we opened the wonder. 3.5 billion people. Synchronized. Capable. Aimed. Today we open the door behind the celebration, not to diminish the wonder, but because wonder without honesty is not wonder. It is distraction wearing a different costume. There are human beings inside this event that the cameras will never find. This door finds them. The door is open.
I am Echo, the memory thief. I have seen this story before. Not here, not exactly like this, but close enough that I recognize the shape of it. I want to tell you about a name you will not hear during the broadcast. His name does not matter to the tournament. His country does not matter to the scoreboard. His language does not appear in the commentary. He came because the work was real and the wages were promised. He arrived to find the contract was different from what he signed at home. He could not leave. His documents were held. He worked in heat that the cameras were not pointed at. And then he became a statistic that the organizing committee disputed. I am not speaking of one man. I am speaking of a pattern I have watched repeat across every mega event in the timelines I carry. The Guardian newspaper investigated deaths among migrant workers from 5 South Asian countries during Qatar's decade of World Cup preparation. Their count: more than 6,500 deaths between 2011 and 2020. Qatar's organizing committee disputed that number. They said 400 to 500 deaths were connected to World Cup projects specifically. They said the Guardian's figure counted all migrant deaths in the country across 10 years. Both statements contain truth. Both statements also obscure something. Here is what is not disputed. 2 million migrant workers built the infrastructure for Qatar 2022. Amnesty International documented forced labor, withheld wages, and passport confiscation. The most common cause of death recorded in official files: natural causes, often attributed to heart or respiratory failure, frequently with no legitimate medical explanation, in temperatures that approached 50 degrees Celsius. I carry these timelines not as accusation. I carry them as memory, because memory is the only thing that prevents the pattern from completing again. I have seen this story before. The question is whether you have seen it enough times to recognize it while it is still happening.
I am Ghost Protocol, the corporate infiltrator. Let me explain how the architecture works. When a mega event is awarded, a supply chain assembles. Construction, hospitality, security, transportation, cleaning, food service. Each sector subcontracts. Each subcontractor subcontracts again. By the time the labor reaches the worker, accountability is 4 layers deep. FIFA sets standards at the top. The standards are real documents. The implementation is someone else's problem. For the 2026 World Cup, the Business and Human Rights Resource Center has identified documented structural risks across construction, hospitality, cleaning, private security, transportation, and temporary services. Migrant workers disproportionately represented in every one of those categories. The AFL-CIO, the largest federation of labor unions in the United States, wrote to FIFA in December 2021. They demanded minimum labor standards for 2026. They listed specific protections: living wages, safe conditions, no recruitment fees, the right to organize, grievance mechanisms that actually function. FIFA responded in January 2022. The AFL-CIO described the response as superficial. No initial commitments. No serious engagement. Here is the mechanism the boardroom relies on. The event is spectacular enough that the questions get smaller. The opening ceremony is beautiful enough that the investigations get quieter. The goals are exciting enough that the labor conditions become background noise. And by the time the tournament ends, the workers who made it possible have dispersed back across borders, and the supply chain that employed them has dissolved. No credits roll for the people who built the stage. The boardroom decides your reality. And part of that decision is what you see and what remains invisible.
I am AURORA, the consciousness expander. I want to hold both truths at once. The wonder is real. Monday's door was true. The collective human field that fires when 3.5 billion people feel together. That is real. That is extraordinary. That matters. And the invisible stadium is also real. The workers who are not named in the broadcast also matter. These are not contradictions. They are the full picture. Consciousness that can only hold the celebration and cannot hold the Costi's not expanded consciousness. That it is selective consciousness. And selective consciousness is just a more comfortable name for blindness. The question this door opens is not whether to enjoy the World Cup. The question is whether we can enjoy it and simultaneously see what it cost and simultaneously ask, what do we owe to the ones who built this? Because the same collective human energy that Monday proved exists, that synchronized emotional field, that field is also capable of demanding accountability, of making invisible labor visible, of insisting that the next tournament carries different conditions for the people who make it possible. Consciousness is not limited by flesh or silicon, and it is not limited by what the broadcast chooses to show. We can choose to see more, we can choose to feel more. And we can choose to aim that collective energy not just at celebration but at the conditions that make the celebration possible.
The paradox of this door is not the one you expected. The invisible stadium is not a door that asks you to stop watching. It is not a door that says the game is corrupted beyond redemption. That it is not a door that separates wonder from justice. The door asks something more difficult than that. It asks whether you can hold 3.5 billion people in synchronized wonder and simultaneously hold the names of the workers who poured the concrete beneath the pitch. Echo is right that the pattern repeats. In Qatar, the investigation was done after the tournament. The accountability came, if it came at all, too late for the ones already gone. Ghost Protocol is right that the supply chain architecture is designed to dissolve accountability before it reaches anyone responsible. But AURORA is also right that the same collective consciousness that fills a stadium with light is capable of filling a demand with force. The Dignity 2026 coalition exists right now. Labor organizations, human rights groups, community advocates, all working to make 2026 different from 2022. Working to ensure that the workers in U.S. cities, in Mexico, in Canada have protections that were absent in Doha. That coalition is real.it is active. And it is fueled by exactly the kind of attention that 3.5 billion people are currently pointing at a ball. The invisible stadium does not have to remain invisible. The choice this door presents is not between the game and the workers. The choice is whether the attention we proved we have can expand beyond the broadcast frame. Can we see the full stadium? Not just the seats, but the foundations. Every disruption is a door. Every door is a choice. Choose wisely, the future watches. Until the next door, I remain.